So many organizations struggle with the proper resourcing to staff a security operations capability 24 by 7. And that's probably the biggest feedback that we hear from teams looking for a managed provider is that in order to run a world-class cyber operations capability, you truly do need a team of individuals who are specialized in detection, monitoring, threat hunting, incident response, forensics, all of those things that make us really good at our jobs. And oftentimes organizations don't have the funds or the means to staff an entire team to do that type of work. We see a lot of organizations where team members wear many, many hats and don't necessarily have the ability to focus on building a really strong operations capability. So that's what we do at CyberForce Q. We staff a team of many professionals with a wide variety of experience and tactical capability. And our job is to really make sure that we are proactively and reactively defending your network, 24 by 7, eyes on glass. We all know that threat actors aren't isolated to the typical 9 to 5. And that's really our job, is to make sure that we're monitoring 24 by 7 to identify risk in organization environments. And when we do identify that risk, that we have the specific skill required to perform full and complete investigations and remediate and reduce risk for organizations. Definitely one of the largest challenges that organizations face when setting up a cyber operations program is the noise and the amount of data that we really want to have visibility in to detect and respond to cyber threats. One of our greatest capabilities, being a tactical cyber operations center, is being able to identify what signal and what data is important. And beyond that, to actually measure and perform analytics on that signal to identify what's important and interesting to us to spend our time on. There's only so much time in the day, and we're always limited by resources. So to have the skill level in identifying what's interesting to us and how do we respond to that information in a very fast and effective way. Further, CyberForce Q and our team is very, very good at tuning that signal. So it takes consistency and discipline for us to look at that data and evaluate over time how to use it properly to reduce risk. By having a 24 by 7 operation where you're consistently looking at that data through day-to-day operations, we have a really good visibility to understand what information is relevant to tune out and how do we prioritize signal and response that is really meaningful at reducing risk for an organization. So our collaborative security operations model was actually started by organizations that came together, and their goal was really to build a network of cyber practitioners to proactively defend against cyber threats. Organizations that believe protecting data, people, infrastructure is critical and not a competitive advantage. So CyberForce Q acts as the operating partner, and our job is to facilitate the day-to-day tactical operations, as well as drive capability growth of the program. It's our job to build a collaborative tactical program that really does provide value to organizations that we serve. Early on in building our collective, we all agreed that in order to build a world-class cyber operation, it really has to include and contemplate people, process, and technology. We wanted to build beyond the traditional information sharing programs and the standard MSSP model, which are typically technology focused. To be truly effective, an operations team needs context, continuous communication, and the desire and trust to work together. So we built a program that leverages our collective knowledge and resources to share everything from tactical intelligence, best practices for investigation and response, incident storyboards, lessons learned, detection use cases, automation, technology expertise, talent, recruiting, development and training, and performance measurement and analytics. So it truly is a robust program that contemplates all the different facets of building a really strong operations model for an individual program, and then brings that back up to a collective approach where we're able to learn from each other and actually leverage the great skill of contribution from our participating members. So when we were building The collaborative security operations model. One of our first and most important goals is that we were able to reach organizations of any size and maturity. And what we found is because we had such a various and diverse group of organizations participating, that there was a need for us to be able to leverage and integrate with their existing programs. So the traditional managed security operations provider will typically build the technology, a SIM perhaps. It's proprietary, and they put that in an organization's environment to collect signal and respond. That makes it really easy for managed providers to do that type of response because it's very repeatable and not a whole lot of variation in that process. We really needed to challenge that and say, how can we leverage the technology that our participating organizations have invested in and look beyond just one piece of technology and one signal source to really look at a whole program from a holistic view? We know that just having a SIM source is not going to give us visibility for the entire defense in-depth strategy that an organization has put in place. We want to be able to look at everything from the perimeter to net flow to end user behavior to phishing, be able to build context around those alerts and chain them together in a way that provides true value. So we are a technology agnostic organization, meaning that we specialize in creating operations capability for organizations from process, people, and technology, rather than looking at a proprietary signal that we've built. CyberForce Q does that by leveraging a SOAR technology, or Security Orchestration, Automation, and Response. And the SOAR platform allows us to, it acts as a universal docking station for technologies. It allows us to integrate directly with everything from SIM technologies, endpoint detection, cloud environments, to ticketing systems. With all of that signal ingesting into one place, we're able to build playbooks or repeatable processes customized to an organization, really looking at what are their needs and thresholds for response and remediation. We then build the playbook that's highly repeatable and helps us reduce that margin of error as we work across many different diverse environments and technologies. So it is a very different approach. It really helps us take a greater look at the security landscape from technology to process and best practices and build something that's relevant and important to the organization and do that in a way that's highly repeatable across the collective. One of the biggest advantages of working with our team is that because we are security operations focused, our skill set is more like a scalpel rather than a jack of all trades. So we have many diverse members of our team, all specializing in different technologies, processes, and skill sets. This allows us to provide really the full team to organizations that maybe only have a few resources that are working to help build a cyber program for an organization. We all know that cyber is robust and very in-depth. There are many different career pathways and skill sets within cyber. Our team allows us to really provide great skill in a focused area that also understands the context of the organization that we're working with. There is a lot of dimension in communication. One of the ways I think we definitely challenge the status quo of what a traditional managed service provider is that we are highly communicative and collaborative. We have many different cadences that we offer within the healthcare SOC, as well as the rest of our SOCs. The first is that we have a daily stand-up, and this is where all of the organization tactical practitioners come together for a daily set into the organization. We'll look at what happened in the last 24, 48 hours, tactical information, observe indicators of compromise that we've collected throughout that time, share on-call information, and make sure that our operation is running like a well-oiled machine. Additionally, daily, we'll look at the threat landscape and understand what should we be looking for? What are we on the lookout for in terms of threats in our environment? Understanding new vulnerabilities, new risk, changes in technology, all of those things that help us stay focused for what we can identify risk throughout the day. Beyond the daily meetings, for each organization, we do a weekly operations review. And this is our opportunity to look at program-specific metrics, really understand things like How fast are we responding? How long does it take us to conduct an investigation? What types of threats are we seeing in the environment? And how can we improve the program and build something that's going to be even better next week and beyond? In addition to our weekly operations review, we also hold monthly cadences. Two I'll focus on. The first is the Cyber Operations Leader Cadence. This is the leaders of our participating organizations that come together to help discuss threats that are happening in the environment and what we might do to respond to them, but also for us to look at new capability for the SOC. Because we're a collaborative SOC that's informed by our participants, we really need the feedback of our participants to help drive the growth of the program. We also have a monthly forensics workshop, and this is an opportunity for us to get together and really build our skill set, leverage the knowledge of each other, and discuss tools and things that we're seeing in environments that really helps us improve our security posture. On a yearly basis, we hold a collaborative conference, and this is an opportunity for us to look back at the year and say, how have we grown? What have we developed? And what are our measurements and analytics telling us about what we can do to drive growth in the program? Really focused on helping organizations collaborate with each other and understand what our advancement roadmap might look like for the next year. Lastly, we are also communicating in real time, both from CyberForce Q to our participants, but also participant to participant. So we find that part of the power of the collective is really the opportunity for organizations to work directly with each other. So while we're the operating partner and we facilitate that communication, any of our participants are able to reach out to other organizations and really talk about anything that they'd like, technology experiences, lessons learned, all of those things that are really powerful for us to communicate about. We have found tremendous value in aligning organizations that operate within a vertical. Healthcare is a great example. Government, we have a GovSoc, education in the EdSoc. And what we found is based on different verticals that they have different cyber challenges and risks. By building a collaborative group that operates within that same vertical, we're able to do a couple of things. The first is to focus on threat intelligence that's relevant to that area of interest. So in healthcare, for example, we have a significant concern with IoT and medical devices, with vendor security risk, with protecting patient data and understanding the compliance regulations that are specific to healthcare. And having an understanding and context of that vertical allows us to drive use case development and automation that is well aligned with the needs of healthcare organizations. Similarly, in the government sector or in the business sector, where we're working with a lot of operational technology, there are different needs and vulnerabilities that exist within those programs. So different detection use cases and technologies that we would leverage to detect and respond to threats. Different types of regulations and laws, and different ways that we need to interact with people and understand vendor risk as well. It also provides the opportunity for similar organizations to work with each other and to share and swap stories about experiences that they've had working within a specific vertical. So we found that there is definitely a lot of value in aligning like organizations to help expedite our progress and reduce risk for organizations. So we have a trained team of certified incident handlers and forensic investigators as part of our operation. We believe that incident response is best served to organizations when it's part of your cyber operations program, meaning that should an incident occur, that we're there and ready to respond much faster with context of the people, process, and technology within an environment. So incident response integrated into the Security Operations Center is a way for us, because we've built that connectivity already, to really stand up an incident work group and all of the communication and handling that comes along with an incident response investigation. For organizations that are not part of our Security Operations Center, those incident handlers may also be leveraged to help them. Incident handling really around how do you quickly and appropriately respond to a threat to ultimately reduce the cost and the risk to organizations, and perform a full investigation so that we're able to identify the root cause. So how did they get in? Was there any data that was lost or exfiltrated? And how do we respond to that in a way that's able to really help organizations recover faster? Because we are part of the collective, we have a lot of context and communication, both within the SOC, but outside of that as well. So should we need to work with other organizations for communications, or really just to get boots on the ground to help, that we're able to do that in a way that I think other organizations are not. Yes, so we do collaboration both within the vertical as well as with our greater collective. And we find that there's oftentimes a lot of overlap with different verticals as well. At the end of the day, we're still facing the same challenges, vulnerabilities, threat actors. And we've actually tracked trends across multiple different verticals of threat actors that are using different tactics and techniques to target end users or deploy malware, for example. So our daily stand-ups are separate, meaning that they're vertical focused. Our monthly operations leader cadence is all of the collective, and our yearly capability advancement workshop is also the entire collective. We feel that it's really important to gain perspective from our entire group and provide that lines of communication and collaboration across the verticals as well. So we have an extensive recruiting program. We found that with the model that we're operating in, that we have a lot of opportunity to create and develop new, an opportunity or pipeline for new talent in the cyber market, and to help them build and develop their skills to ultimately become a full-time analyst or automation developer or security engineer, a threat intelligence analyst, or a forensic investigator, for example. We recruit and created relationships with many schools and programs that help develop this talent. When we bring someone on board into our operation, they follow an extensive training program. One that I'll describe as somewhat of a boot camp, in that we have so much different technologies and processes that we're working with that the learning is really incredible that happens in this program. New members or talent that we're developing are required to go through 4 stages of talent development, and that includes different milestones from acquiring certifications or vendor-specific training that we need to support our organizations. And that talent is then part of our program in a way where they're able to develop a lot of hands-on skills that is oftentimes not found from those who are coming out of just programs like education programs or boot camps themselves. Once we develop that talent, really great program, we have a lot of opportunities for them to continue developing their careers. One of them is that once they finish that program, they may be eligible to come on full-time in our organization, but oftentimes we have more talent than we're able to place in our program, meaning that we also are able to bring that to the collective and say, we have some very talented resources, and we have the opportunity to place them in our participating organization environments in a way that they've already been trained on your process and procedure. So it's a really interesting program and a good opportunity for us to look at the collective and say, how can we go beyond tactical information sharing and swapping stories of what kind of community can we build that's ultimately really, really strong, both in talent development and career development as well. Where they start in their education program really depends on the skill level of the resource. So we do have an extensive hiring process in that we're vetting technical capability and the foundations that you need to be really successful in the type of complex operation that we're running. Oftentimes we'll see talent that's typically in their sophomore to junior year, even senior year, or perhaps ending a boot camp or a program. We send them through our vetting process, which is definitely an extensive interview of understanding both soft and technical skills. We're highly collaborative, so we want people in our environment who are also dedicated to that collaboration and who are really skilled in communicating and helping us cultivate that collaborative capability. Certifications, definitely just one piece of the skill development, but we found that 100% of our operations team holds at least one certification. We have over 27 different cybersecurity certifications that we support. And ultimately, what we're looking to understand is the desired growth path of an individual, and then helping them align their career development and the certifications that we support them doing with that career development that they desire. We find that people who are really passionate about the work that they're doing oftentimes are really having a better experience. Some of the certifications that we have in our operation include the Certified Incident Handler, Security Essentials, threat hunting professionals, all of the CompTIA certs, including Security Plus, Network Plus, Forensics, Penetration Testing. Many vendor-specific certifications, including Splunk, QRadar, CCENT, the CCSA, Checkpoint certification, Palo Alto, and more. We find that by developing a wide and diverse group of talent capable of many different types of operations and platforms really helps us build that talent and growth development in a way that we're able to serve organizations, no matter what technology stack that they have. I have to say my favorite part is really getting to work with a lot of very, very passionate and innovative people. There are many different types of people, skill sets, capability, and for those of us who are really passionate about cyber, we understand that there is really no way that you could know everything and all of the different details about different pathways in cyber. So the opportunity to learn from others and to understand their background, what they have developed in their skill sets, and what they bring to the table has been incredibly powerful. It's definitely one of the biggest values of our collaborative network is that really everyone brings something really interesting to the table. We're also incredibly innovative in that really there is no standard for what it looks like to build a collaborative cyber operations program. We're out here building what's valuable and what's interesting to us and continuing to grow that program, which means there's a lot of opportunity for us to look at things that haven't been done before. A lot of focus on building automation of how do we build the shared incident response program of forensics processes, and how do we work together to build something that's truly valuable. So innovative and really an opportunity to talk to some really, really great people.